looked at this place and saw the potential and saw that this university wants to win and be successful, and I really believe that this is the place that Gary Pinkel should be.
That was in 2001, and today we know 2015 will be Gary Pinkel's last season. Missouri head coach Pinkel announced today he will step down from coaching duties following this season because of health reasons. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Morgan Young. We learned today doctors diagnosed Pinkel with non-Hodgkin lymphoma, cancer of the blood, in May. KOMU 8's Phil Bergman is live outside Faurot Field with more.
Good evening. Yes, in May, Coach Pinkel met with athletic director Mac Rhodes and told him about his diagnosis. And then following Mizzou's bye week 2 weeks ago, Pinkel did decide to resign following the end of the season. Now tonight, Mizzou Athletics is paying a tribute to Coach Gary Pinkel here outside of Faurot Field on the video board. They have a little tribute for the coach saying, thank you, Coach Pinkel, for his 15 years of service as head coach for the University of Missouri football team. Currently, Coach Pinkel and the Mizzou Tigers are in Kansas City preparing for tomorrow night's game against BYU at Arrowhead Stadium. Following the game, Pinkel will be talking to the media for the first time since announcing his resignation. The press conference will also be the first time that MU players will be available for comment since the Jonathan Butler hunger strike earlier in the week. Coach Pinkel will end his Mizzou tenure as the all-time leading football coach with right now currently 117 wins. He surpassed the legendary Don Faurot, whose statue I'm in front of right now, who had 101 career wins. Reporting live from Faurot Field in Columbia, Phil Bergman, KOMU 8 News.
Coach Pinkel's announcement has students and local residents voicing a variety of opinions. KOMU 8's Louis Kazmarek is here in the studio with more on some of the day's reactions.
Brittany, from students to former football players, it seemed everyone had something to say about Gary Pinkel's retirement announcement. I was downtown gathering those reactions from fans today. There was a heavy feeling of worry amongst most of the people I spoke with. They say they hope the team can stay on the successful track Pinkel helped create after the team came to the SEC. But some say the legacy of the head coach will be a hard one to follow.
He's the winningest coach, right, in MU football history, right? So I think that means something. That he is for sure an important leader for the football team, I think, is quite clear.
One of our other reporters, Paxton DeBlasi, was outside Mizzou Arena, and he spoke to a fan who worked with Coach Pinkel as a team manager.
I was really surprised, actually, that he had resigned, or I guess stepped down, just because he was the face of the program and has been for the last 15 years. So a lot of surprise and a lot of questions whenever I found out he was first stepping down.
A lot of surprise and a lot of questions ahead for the football team's future indeed. Coach Pinkel will finish in December of this year after 14 seasons at Mizzou.
The Board of Curators chairman found out about Pinkel's health condition and decision to resign Tuesday night. The board said it wanted to respect Coach's wishes and did not divulge the information to give him time to tell the team and staff. He said, quote, MU's football team has earned tremendous accolades and victories under Gary's leadership. The board asks that you keep Gary and his family in your thoughts and prayers.
After 15 years, Coach Pinkel is leaving the University of Missouri. KOMU 8's Chris Trevino takes a look back on the career of a coach who changed the football fortunes at Mizzou.
After 15 years at the University of Missouri, Gary Pinkel is resigning as head coach of the Tigers at the end of the season. Pinkel was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma, cancer of the blood, in May. After consulting with his family in late October, he decided this would be his last season coaching. In 15 years, Pinkel transformed the Mizzou program to respectability and led the Tigers to 10 bowl games, with an outside chance at one more. Along the way, he passed Missouri legend Don Faurot for most wins as head coach of the Tigers. He has 117 Missouri victories. Maybe his biggest achievement was the success and stability he found as Missouri changed conferences from the Big 12 to the SEC. 2012 was Missouri's first season in the SEC. The Tigers struggled, but Pinkel, true to form, didn't make drastic changes, sticking with his coaches and players. In 2013, the Tigers had a breakout season, winning the SEC East and leaving themselves one win away from playing for the national championship. Mizzou made it back to Atlanta again in 2014 as back-to-back SEC East champs. Now he will finish his career coaching the players whom just last Sunday he supported during their call for the removal of the University of Missouri system president. Now Pinkel looks for support from those same players as Mizzou tries to reach another bowl game in his final season.
Pinkel says he is currently in good health, but decided he would rather spend his time fighting the disease with his family and friends outside of the daily grind of football.
Here's what's happening right now. France has closed its borders and declared a state of emergency after police and city officials say at least 153 people were killed in a series of attacks in Paris tonight. NBC's Barry Arendt tells us what's happening.
Deaths in Paris after a shootout at a Paris restaurant and an explosion at a bar near a Paris stadium. There is also a report of a hostage situation at a theater. The French news channel BFM TV reported the hostage situation started with a shooting 1 hour into a concert. BFM TV said several people came into the theater and began shooting in the air. A police official said 11 people were killed at a Paris restaurant in the 10th district. The restaurant is located in a neighborhood near the Charlie Hebdo offices. You could hear the explosion during the France-Germany soccer game, although the game went on. Later, the stadium was being evacuated section by section, and people stood on the field and got news updates on their cell phones. President Obama said the U.S. stands with France in the fight against terrorism.
We're going to do whatever it takes to work with the French people and with nations around the world to bring these terrorists to justice.
The attacks came before a major climate conference that has caused heightened security. Barry Arendt, NBC News.
Earlier on the MU campus today, Concerned Student 1950 held a march in response to the week's events. The march led by Concerned Student 1950 was joined by students from other campuses. The march started at the Black Culture Center at noon and ended in Jesse Hall. MUPD and Missouri State Highway Patrol accompanied the group's cross-campus march. A member from the group says the march was held because there are still 8 demands the school has not met. She says one of the biggest changes they want to see is shared governance, a voice in campus decision-making.
You can't tell me what's going to make a student feel comfortable if you aren't a student. You know, if you're not me, then you don't know what works best for me. You know, so I believe that, well, we believe that students should have a role in determining who's going to be the leaders of this institution.
She says having more police presence on campus is a good first step, but after the threat, students still feel the need to travel in groups.
The Boone County Commission finalized an award of $900,000 for mental health services last night. The money comes from the Children's Service Fund and Community Health Fund that are supported by a voter-approved quarter-cent sales tax. 3 of the recipients are the Boys and Girls Club, Phoenix Programs Incorporated, and the Family Health Center of Boone County.
A lot of it is geared toward mental health and prevention efforts for those at high risk, substance abuse treatment, counseling, those kinds of services.
For more information on the programs and how much money they're each receiving, go to KOMU.com. Teachers across the state are supporting change. About 700 Missouri State Teachers Association delegates came to Columbia to pass new resolutions. Some of those resolutions include districts having rooms for new moms to breastfeed and pump.
A lot of teachers are women, and a lot of teachers, when they come back to work, they want to continue to be able to breastfeed or pump to provide milk for their children. And so the resolution that was passed by them want districts to be proactive, provide a proper location and a proper schedule for those mothers that want to be able to continue to breastfeed and pump for their children.
Some other resolutions MSTA passed include districts adopting a policy on gender expression and identity and having learning standards be in place for at least 7 years before changing them.
It's been a beautiful day. Let's send it over to Tori to see if this weather will continue.
It is going to be a pretty nice weekend for us. We'll continue to